My next guest is going to be taking on Josh Rettinghouse coming up here, FAC 25 this Saturday. It is Alex McGowan joining me here on the program for the very first time. Alex, how's it going?
It's going well. How about yourself?
I'm doing awesome, but I'm not going to be punching someone in the face, and if I did, I'd get arrested. So happy to be talking to you here, man. Big fight again against Rettinghouse, obviously a veteran in the game. Just before we talk about obviously you and everything else, just how excited were you to get him as an opponent?
Super excited. You know, Rettinghouse, he's one of the OGs in the game. He's pretty much done just about everything that you can outside of fighting inside the UFC. So, I mean, hell, he fought Marlon Moraes back in the day for the World Series of Fighting title. So, like, the list of opponents that he's fought, like, you couldn't have asked for a more tougher fight outside the UFC, but this is the fight that will allow us it. I get my hand raised on Saturday. There's no denying me a shot in the UFC afterwards.
Completely agree, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But I want to go all the way back to the beginning, Alex. You and I have never had a chance to speak together. How did this journey start for you? Where did this journey start for you? How did you get involved in combat sports?
Kind of had a couple friends that were really good wrestlers. So I grew up in Wichita, Kansas. It's one of the suburbs of Goddard. They were a powerhouse in wrestling, and I had a lot of really good friends that were multiple time state champion wrestlers that went off and went to either Iowa or OU, OSU, and such. And anyways, though, so they kind of brought me into an MMA gym because I always loved just going in the wrestling room and working out. I never wrestled myself, but I just love to be able to go in the wrestling room and work out with those guys. And they took me to an MMA gym one day at James K down in Wichita, David Rickles' old main place.
Oh, the caveman, nice.
Yeah. And I just fell in love with it right off the bat. So the camaraderie of what a team has, the way you have to push yourself, and just the hard work that goes along with it.
By the way, Wichita, I always remember that from the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Have you ever seen that? It's an old movie. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. But there's like this whole scene where this guy is in like a cab and he's getting a tour of Wichita at night. And it's basically the cab driver trying to ride up the fare when he's taking him to his motel. And he's like, I thought you wanted to see Wichita. And he's like, it's nighttime. So I thought that's kind of funny. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Just saying. So yeah, we talked about how you got into MMA. What about outside of MMA? Like what's paying the bills for you right now? I assume, obviously you're training a lot and everything, but do you have something else on the side that's sort of paying for everything?
Yeah, so actually I'm dual status. So I work for the Army as a civilian, as a budget analyst, and
nice.
I also serve in the Army Reserve, and I'm absolutely blessed with the management that I have because they know that I have a fight career, and they're not so much as clock watching. As long as I do my work, they're fine with me going off to the morning practices, the evening practices, and doing what I need to do in order to be able to prepare for a fight like this.
And heading into this fight, man, you're on a roll. I think 7-1 in your last 8. What would you say is the biggest reason for that win streak? Is there anything different you've been doing during that span, or is it just everything's kind of coming together?
A little bit of both. So I had a good win streak before I fought Chuka Willis. Chuka, he fought at Glory MMA, which broke off, disbanded. But right after that loss, back in about 2021, late 2021, I moved to Kansas City myself and started training under Zach Cummings, and he allowed me to really put everything together. Prior to that, all my fights to that, I was always like Wichita has a really good coaches there, but like specialist coaches, really good in jiu-jitsu, really good in wrestling, really good in kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing, et cetera, et cetera. But no one that was really there to be able to just help us blend it all together. And I will definitely say in my last couple fights, that has been really big on display of the blending, having the structure from the level changes and actually meshing all the disciplines together I think that's why I'm in the position I'm in now with being under Zach Cummings and having that tutelage.
Let's talk about your opponent. I mentioned Rettinghouse, 18-5 record. Stylistically, how are you looking at this fight?
Tough, man. I think I can finish him, but I also know that even if he gets hurt, he's still going to be there. He's not going to quit. He's one of those people that I will have to put him unconscious in order to be able to put him away. He's not the type of person that's going to give up on himself. He's been in numerous wars. He's going to be in my face the whole time. He's a power puncher. Stylistically, he's definitely the most complete fighter that I fought, but I don't think he is the overall like best fighter that I've ever fought. I fought a lot of high-level guys, but he's definitely very successful. but he's also older too. So I think he has a lot of questions on himself as well. Of he's been through all those wars. Will his chin be able to hold up? Because just like whenever I fought CJ, CJ had never been knocked out, and he fought guys like Evan Elder, Trey Ogden, and a few other guys that went off in the UFC. Never been knocked out, and I was the first person to ever knock him out. So I'd love to be the first person to be able to knock out Rettinghouse, but I have full intentions on that. He'll be there for the full 15 minutes.
We talked about your camp, obviously a great gym over there at Ignite. Who have been some of the main guys helping you get ready for this one?
Alan Olivas, his pressure, his pace, his wrestling, it's top notch. There's second to none. Starting camp with that guy, or I'd even just say starting training with that guy, I'd always be breathing hard and such. But towards the end of it, I'm not even breathing hard. Like I'd be able to go 7 5-minute rounds, and not including all the warm up stuff that we did prior to. I'm not even breathing heavy anymore. Alan Olivas, Gage Young. Gage is one of our best strikers that we have in the gym. Ty Schrader, and he's a short, little, stocky guy, just like Josh Rettinghouse. So I was partnering up with him a lot, and I think Ty's probably going to be way stronger than Rettinghouse will be. So being able to deal with those kind of guys, those three have been my main guys going into this fight. We also have another female fighter, Marissa Ellis. She hits like a dude. So the way how she hits, she's very technical, just the way how Rettinghouse is. So I did a lot of work with her. So I would say actually those four were my main training partners leading into this, and they got me. My confidence is high going into this fight.
Love it. Your corner, I imagine Zach Cummins, Jason High, or who's going to be in the cage with you?
Zach Cummins for sure.
Yeah.
More likely Jay High. We got a couple other guys on the card as well, so kind of just filters out if he needs to be backstage for those guys or not. I know I could definitely pick out Zach's voice over Jay High's voice at this time, but I got a very good relationship with both. So we're still kind of playing that in at the moment. But I have a few guys because I like to spar before my fight. Kind of get that, oh shit, I'm about to get punched out of the way. So I got a guy back there to help me out back with that. But more likely will be both Jay High and Zach Cummins.
Is that fairly common before a fight to spar? I know you'll do like mitt work, but to actually go out and spar, is that fairly, is this something like unlikely?
So my buddy Chris Harris is actually the one that got me turned on to it. So
Okay.
a couple of weeks ago, Michael Bisping was even kind of talking about it during his commentating for one of his fights. And he was sitting there saying how there's a lot of anxiety when you first get out there of kind of that, oh shit, I'm about to get hit type of deal of getting that out of the way. And that sometimes will prevent guys from pulling the trigger. So Chris used to be able to spar before his fight. So that way he kind of got that feeling out of the way of that, oh shit, I'm about to get hit. You already kind of got your head warmed up, your chin warmed up, and you already been hit a few times. So now you get to go out there and do what you need to do instead of anticipating that first hit of seeing how it feels.
Okay, there we go. And your prediction, how's this one playing out?
I think third round TKO.
Love it. Didn't even hesitate. So I know you've been thinking a little bit about that as far as how this one's going to play out. And we talked about it there, man. This is to some degree is a bit of an audition, UFC audition for this fight. The implications of a win, especially a finish over a veteran like Rettinghouse, that's got to open a lot of doors for you.
Absolutely. I really think the winner of this is going to have for sure a short notice opportunity in the UFC, if not a little bit longer camp in the UFC. Because I know I'm one of the top ranked guys myself, and he's one of the OGs and top ranked guys on the worldwide stage. And I mean, he's done it. He's been the Ultimate Fighter. He's fought for world titles. But I think it's his time to be able to pass that torch over to me.
Before we get out of here, what are some of your other hobbies outside of fighting? We talked all fighting right now, so what else are you into? I don't know if you watch anything cool on Netflix, you're a video game guy, if you like any other sports, you like the outdoors. Just throwing some stuff out there, but what are some things you like doing?
I love hiking. Actually, so I know Rettinghouse is from the Pacific Northwest, but I love going out there and traveling out that area. Absolutely gorgeous area. Fell in love with it. I love hiking. I love being outside, disc golf, regular golf. Anything that deals with like just being physically active, I love to do. But I do also like to sit back and enjoy my video games as well, especially on a hot or super cold day.
Yep, well said. How's your golf game these days? When was the last time you played golf? I played yesterday, so that's what piqued my interest.
Ooh, it's terrible. I will definitely say I'm more there just for the fun instead of being competitive with it, which it's surprising because I'm a super competitive guy, but I'm just there to have fun and try to learn. My buddy Brandon Bonwell, he was a phenomenal golfer. He's always been helping me try to work on it. I would definitely say I'm not a I played baseball growing up a bit,
Yeah.
and I was always that person that thought wrong not to swing because I'm swinging for the outfields every single time. But with golf, I've learned out real quick. I cannot Happy Gilmore a shot.
Oh no, absolutely. And you know it's even worse. Like I played hockey growing up. It's even worse for hockey players because that exact motion is similar to what you have
Yeah,
in golf because it's that downward shot. But yeah, you're exactly right. The harder you hit it, the more you're going to lose control of the ball.
yeah.
So, but I'll tell you what, this fight on Saturday is going to be a lot of violence. We're looking forward to it. It's FAC 25. It's going to be live on Spectation Sports. Alex, thanks so much for doing this, especially on Fight Week. If there's anyone you'd like to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'd like to thank a couple of my long-term sponsors I've had with me ever since I turned professional. NutriAuthority and Supplement Giant. NutriAuthority kind of started a few years right before I turned professional-wise, but they've been with me since day one of my professional career, and I look forward to be able to having this long-term standing relationship with them. They've taken care of me in any of my needs I need. Same thing with local supplement store down from my home base in Wichita. Every time I go in the store, I get treated as family, and they provide me with anything and everything that I need. A lot of times they just give me stuff for free. So it shows you that kind of the relationship I've been able to build with those people. And I'm absolutely grateful for those sponsors of having their backing and helping me in my career.